Hey guys, welcome back to Ultimate S&S. So we have a good show for you today. We're going to be discussing HR 1808, what it is, what is the purpose behind it, because we know there is absolutely no chance this thing is going to pass in the Senate. So what would be the purpose in doing that? Well, there's a couple of reasons. So for those, let's back it up a little bit. If you don't know what HR 1808 is, it just passed in the House. Okay, that is Congress, folks. And what that is they are calling it an assault weapons ban. Okay, but when you get in there and you read the definition, they have come in and they have defined this down to a specific style of firearm. And we're not talking about the Armalite style firearms. We're talking about anything that is constituted as a semi-automatic. So what is semi-automatic? Well, if you're familiar with the old westerns back in the day, they would have a little cowboy pistol. They'd pull them out. They'd have to pull the hammer, then pull the trigger. That is not semi-automatic. That is single action, but it's not semi-automatic. Now, for more of the more modern style wheel guns, as they call them today, if you could pull the trigger, and maybe some of them have hammers, some of them don't, but if you could pull the trigger and it'll revolve the revolver, and that's the only thing you got to do is pull the trigger, that is being constituted as semi-automatic by this bill. Okay, and there will be a ban on it as of right now, is what Congress has passed. That is from that style to anything that is not a pump or a single breech, which would be muzzleloaders, single breech shotguns, single breech hunting rifles, pump style weapons, lever action. Those are not semi-automatic. But if you can just pull a trigger, that is semi-automatic, and they are banning that. So for those of you who are like me, that are kind of collectors and stuff, what are we looking at? Is that, what does that mean for us today? Well, what that means for us today is just continue to store your firearms safely the way we always do. Be responsible with your gun ownership. Understand the problem in this nation is not firearms. The problem in this nation is people who are not responsible firearm owners, and their guns get stolen because they're not keeping their stuff in a safe method, and people are able to find out where it's at. So what can you do? Be responsible. Make sure your stuff is stored properly. Make sure that your children are aware of what they are and the proper handling technique, and that it is not okay to go out and do these stupid things that kids are doing today. So understand this: if you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. And that's the way it is, folks, all over the world today. If you do something stupid, expect to be treated like a moron. But what you don't do is come out and try to, let's look at the World Trade Center. So what happened at World Trade Center? The official story is that some people came in, they was mad at us, so they hit the trade building. So I know there for a while everyone had this really bad attitude toward the nationality that they said was responsible for that. And I can remember the left coming up and just said, well, they're not all bad people. Not all of them are like that. And that's true. It's true. It is true. Not everybody is a nut. So, but they drop that mentality when it comes to firearms, because they go, well, no, anyone who owns a firearm, they don't need to own one. Well, who are they to tell us what you can and can't do? We have a constitutional right. Our rights do not end where your fears begin. That is the reality of it, folks. They have more tolerance for people that are not Americans. They have more tolerance for enemies of America than they have for actual Americans expressing their constitutional rights. So HR 1808, that's what it is, folks. It's another gun grab attempt. And understand, it's being effective. It will not hold up in the Senate. Understand that. There's no way this thing is going to pass through the Senate. And if by a snowball's chance in hell it did, it would not hold in the Supreme Court of the United States. It would be overturned pretty quick, like all the other ones. So what's the purpose in passing something like that? Well, we got to understand a couple things. One, they just lost their right to have government-funded abortion and government infringement upon the state's rights when it comes to abortion. So what am I talking about with that? Well, the federal government has never had the constitutional powers to come in and change legislation of a state. It is the state's right to legislate itself, and that's what the Supreme Court upheld. So we have states such as California where they can do late-term abortions. Okay. Then we have states like Tennessee that are coming in and they're saying at the point of conception is a life and no longer eligible for abortion. I love Tennessee, man. Those guys got it going on right now. I hope Florida follows suit. Will they? It's not looking too good for us right now, guys. We'll talk about that here shortly. But so why did they pass this? Well, one, they know that there's going to be those people that are out there that are going to go, well, crap. man, I'm fixed to be made a criminal. So they go and they sell all their firearms. They go wherever their state, usually at sheriff's office and stuff. So, hey, they just passed this. I need to get some money off this thing. And they will take it. They will confiscate it. They give you like $100 toward it. You've spent $2,000. They'll give you $100, and then they destroy it. And that's what their purpose is, to destroy it. Because it's easier to put a ban on manufacturing than it is on ownership. Because manufacturing doesn't have a constitutional right to be able to build whatever it wants to do. It has to follow certain laws. That's what the ban was in 1994 when you started seeing sear blocks and things added into these firearms. That's because of the Clinton ban in 94. And when that was overturned, they stopped putting sear blocks in, and you could start buying trigger kits and things like that. And then you could get your federal stamps to convert it over into a full auto and a lot of different things of that nature. But here in our state, we no longer have our right to open carry. For those of you in Florida right now that have always thought, well, you can open carry in the state of Florida, as of last month, no, you cannot. So that was passed. This was right around the same time that Governor DeSantis was saying he was bringing constitutional carry into the state of Florida, and they snuck this through in a bill. So as much as I like DeSantis, he needs to wake up. His constituents need to wake up. Stop voting these liberals into office. They are not Democrats. When you leave California, New York, and stuff like that, and you move into Florida, do not pass these laws that made your state crap. If you want to live in that stuff, move your butt back out there. Live with the policies that you pass. Don't destroy our state. So that's what we as voters need to be doing. We need to make sure that we're voting the right people in office. And as you get these, what they're calling themselves now is political refugees, please. They're Trojan horses, and they're bringing their freaking failed policies to our state, folks. And we need to, I know this is bad, but we need to make that, no, you're getting out of here. If they're in your neighborhood, make sure that they know you don't want them in your neighborhood. That's the way I would do it. I'm not talking about doing something violent, but just be like, hey, man, you vote your liberal stuff in another state. Get the heck out of here. We're not going to have it. If they realize enough people don't want that stuff, they'll stay away. But they won't, because they're mentally deranged, guys, unfortunately. But back over to the 1808. What are we looking at? Well, the Senate, it's not going to get past the Senate. They would have to have so much report from Republican side, and it's just not there. There's no way. I don't even think Joe Manchin would vote this thing. So I think that it's going to fail in the Senate. If it doesn't, it will fail in the Supreme Court. It'll get overturned. But that can take, as we've seen, quite a while. And just as we seen when they were doing the mandates about you had to go get this shot and all this mess, guys, people were losing their jobs that were like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then they said, no, the government told all these companies they have to do it. Well, then the Supreme Court comes out and says, actually, the government can't tell a private entity that it has to do this. So, no, they overturned it. But the agenda had pushed and the point had been made, which is these companies go, well, let's just go ahead and go along with it anyway, because they're just going to pass something again. And there was companies that were being fined to the point that they had to shut their doors because they weren't forcing these shots on people. So that's what this is about. It's to freak people out, scare them into submission. And then whenever it finally is overturned, they've already given up their rights. So that's where we're looking at. That's all this is just to grab, to get you to say, you know what, oh crap, man, I don't want to be, caught in some kind of illegal thing just from being a gun owner. So they run out and they go and they sell their firearms and stuff. And then whenever it gets overturned and they're like, oh crap, I got to go get all this stuff back. Well, they can't get it back. So you're better off to wait and see what happens. What it comes down to is, how do you believe in your country? Are you going to just give your rights over, rights that people bled for, that people died for? Are you just going to hand them over because a sycophant in office has an agenda that they're getting paid to push? Are you going to say, you know what, we're Americans, we're not going to comply. My state has the right to legislate itself. And just like what's happening in Florida right now, where they have now gotten rid of open carry, like I say, this thing slipped through. I don't even think DeSantis seen it coming, because that's one thing he says he's going to get taken care of before he leaves the office of governor. He's bringing open carry back, and he's bringing constitutional carry back, and he wants to have stricter laws on abortion. So it sounds like that's just early term would be allowed in this state. Don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Personally, I like how Tennessee's really leveling themselves out, man. They are one of the forefront runners right now, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to conservative states. Abortion is illegal, period. The moment of conception, it is life. That is biblical, folks. That's the way it is. When it comes to gun ownership and stuff like that, they say you have a constitutional right. Okay. Now, when you're talking about violent felons and things like that, they have to buy those rights back and prove that they're no longer violent. If there was a mental thing going on or something like that, I don't think that they're going to be able to get those rights back in that state. And I don't have a problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is people that were hit with a low level felony and then they can't even own a firearm. You know, after they've pulled their time in society and stuff, they can't even purchase their rights back. That there is an infringement upon rights. And we can all agree or we can all disagree. It doesn't really matter either way. Like I say, this is just who I am, guys. When it comes down to it, here's the reason I think that you need to observe your Second Amendment. We're already seeing the food supplies going the way of the dodo. We're seeing the prices increase, the empty shelves here that we're having in our state, across the country, guys, and across the world. I know that there's always that one or two oddball people, well, no, we're not seeing it in our area, but then other people from that area say, no, it's bad, it's getting worse. So here's what you need to do. You need to be buying your foods. You need to be stocking up. You need to be stocking up on Freedom Seeds. For those who don't know what that is part of the thing that they want to start not really banning, but really starting to limit on what you can own. So if you don't get it now, you're going to have to start actually showing ID to be able to buy a firearm. You know, Freedom Seeds, you know what I'm talking about. You're going to have to actually have a list, your name on a list of what you're buying. And you don't want that to happen. So here's what I do. You go to Walmart, you look at the shelf, there's nothing there. You might find a few rounds of some Target load, that's it. So what do? Where do you go? Well, here's where I go. Local suppliers, which are your gun shops and stuff like that. Maybe you have shooting ranges. They all sell stuff. Pawn shops even, they have stuff. It might be a little bit more, but I would rather support a local business than have to deal with, you know, going to a store and, oh no, this is all we have available because we're pushing our political agenda. Hey, you know what? As private entities, that is their right. But as a private citizen, I am able to do whatever I need to do. So where can you get stuff? There's places online you can do, but my recommendation, try to buy local if you can. You might not can find it local and have to go to an online source, but try to buy local. And like I say, those are some of your best options when it comes down to it. Sporting goods stores, I'm not talking about your Dick's and your what are they called, like Cabela's and stuff like that. Yeah, you could go get it there if you can find it there, but it sounds like a lot of them are really going to start limiting what they sell as well. So you need to go to your local gun ranges and stuff, these local ammo depots that they have and stuff. You can find those types of things there, and they're usually not too bad on pricing, and you have a little bit better assortment a lot of times. So, but again, guys, I'm going to hop off of here. I just want to make you aware what's going on. HR 1808, it is not going to pass in the Senate, guys. It would not be upheld by our Supreme Court. So don't worry too much about it, but be aware of why they're doing this. It's a gun grab. It's to freak out lesser minds into selling their defense tools is what it is. Because before too long, you're going to need that. You're going to need them with the way that food prices are going and the way that food availability is going away. Sorry, I can't talk this morning, guys. You're going to need to be able to protect your family because these people are moving out of these liberal crap holes and they're coming into our states. All right. And they're bringing their violence with them. And that's why they want you disarmed so that you are a victim. Don't be a victim, folks. Have a wonderful day.